River had specifically hired over a dozen male models. They held roses, their faces adorned with professional smiles, and the one who stood out among them was my ex-boyfriend, Harper. The man was dressed in a silver suit and shirt, his collar slightly unbuttoned, exuding a hint of allure alongside his reserved demeanor. He looked quite the part, but reconciling with an ex was utter nonsense. At least I wasn't that noble. Seeing him reduced to this, I absolutely felt a surge of satisfaction. Just then, Harper glanced over, and without thinking, I sneered as I stood up. Wow, haven't seen you in years, still struggling I see. A hush fell over the surroundings, and my colleagues became silent spectators, looking at each other, and the atmosphere grew chilly. She had also recognized me, walking slowly and deliberately towards us. I secretly clenched my jaw, and as I picked up the roses distributed on my female colleague's desk, a thought struck me. Why is my flower so off? His expression was somewhat complex. He paused, then whispered to the man beside him. Julian, go to the flower shop and order a bouquet of sunflowers. It was then that I noticed how Harper's attire differed from the other models. His suit was stiff and seemed custom-made. Good perks, even an assistant. It all clicked instantly. I scoffed, full of sarcasm. So he's the star attraction. Ari subtly tugged at my clothes, but couldn't hold back my reckless self. Let's exchange WeChat IDs. I'll book you again next time. An old classmate naturally has to support your business. Saying this, I pulled out my phone and feigning interest, opened Atlas. All right. Harper's piercing gaze was playful, and he actually pulled out his phone. I didn't expect him to be so composed, and a friend request appeared plainly on the screen. To accept or not to accept? Was he trying to support my business? A strange fire inexplicably surged in Harper's eyes, but I simply tapped, accept. Just then my direct supervisor jogged over and bowed respectfully to Harper. Mr. James, your office is ready. In that instant, my colleagues gasped collectively in unison, forgetting even to admire the male model's six-packs. It was a complete shock. Could the new CEO be Harper? I prayed it was just my imagination, but the next second, my illusion shattered. Nice to meet you all, Harper said, giving a slight nod. You've given me quite the surprise today. I hope our future together will be as pleasant as today. He was clearly hinting at something. This was happening in broad daylight for all to see. I shivered, and my colleagues all cast sympathetic glances my way. I stood frozen until Harper walked into the office before I finally came to my senses. I get it. Are you okay? Ari asked worriedly, making me a cup of coffee to calm my nerves. But I knew he really wanted to say, good riddance. My throat was tight. Ari hesitated for a long time, her face full of gossip. I get it, you're not familiar with the new Mr. James, let me introduce you. Along with that, my heart ached. Just like in high school, how times change, some people are simply destined to shine forever. Even after 6 years, Harper was as aloof as ever, just like in high school when his report card showed him to be worlds apart from everyone else. The brave tale of me mistaking Ashley for a male model and brazenly flirting with him quickly spread throughout River. These past few days, the first thing everyone said when they met wasn't, "How are you doing?" anymore, but automatically became Cole. Sam? Sam was audacious enough to sexually harass our Ashley. Another fresh bouquet of sunflowers. From that day on, Julian would send a bouquet of flowers every day, along with a warm breakfast. I could throw the flowers in the trash can, but wasting food was truly shameful, so I forced myself to eat it. 2 weeks had passed without me realizing it, and the office was abuzz with whispers. Some said I had real skill, taking Harper down in just a few days. It was unfair. For the past 10+ days, I'd wanted nothing more than to avoid him. Besides, after years of breaking up, what was the meaning of an ex-boyfriend? A creature that should stay in the past, not suddenly resurface? Sighing, I decided to take the initiative. Mr. James. I always wanted to call him by his first name, but thankfully I caught myself in time. Hearing this, Harper looked up. He wore gold-rimmed glasses in the office, which only made him appear more distant, aristocratic, and lifeless. You don't sound very willing? Harper rubbed his temples, completely at ease. The star attraction comment from a few days ago had come so naturally. I cringed internally with embarrassment. This man hadn't changed one bit. He was still so vindictive. I couldn't help it. It seems my being the star attraction is quite pleasing to you. Harper raised an eyebrow. Jerk, always hitting a nerve? This time, I was smarter. My mouth runs away from me, and the more I say, the more mistakes I make. So I simply held my tongue. After a moment, Harper glanced at me again. Anything else work-related? His gaze was distant, as if he were looking at a stranger, just as merciless as when he kicked me aside years ago. Indeed, our paths had already gone our separate ways 6 years ago. No work matters, but there was one personal matter. My heart clenched. I forced a smile and explained my purpose. Let's not beat around the bush, Mr. James. You keep sending me flowers, and the male colleagues in the department are misunderstanding me. I'm not getting any younger, William, and I still want to find a boyfriend. Harper's expression remained calm. The hand holding the document was clenched tight around it, but a large blotch of ink suddenly dropped onto the signature area. Time ticked by, leaving a large void. Just as I was about to turn, he, who had been silent all this time, stood up, and his descending shadow trapped me tightly. Harper stared at the back of my hand pressed against the wooden table, where a vein subtly protruded. He articulated each word slowly. Didn't you used to like sunflowers the most? Indeed, I used to love sunflowers the most. It was because of that phrase, you were all I saw. Back then, I was an Ava. I wore ripped jeans, bangs covering my eyes, and walked with a rebellious swagger. As the monthly exams approached, Michael brought Harper to the game cafe to catch students. As fate would have it, I was the first unlucky one caught. Michael told Harper to watch me. We then went to the back entrance to chase after truant students. I didn't frequent the bulletin board or attend flag-raising ceremonies often. So naturally, I knew very little about this good student. But he was undeniably handsome, long eyelashes, a high nose bridge, rare cool-toned pale skin, and his pristine school uniform emitted a crisp, pine scent. Harper settled into a seat, looking at a math exam filled with problems I couldn't understand, while many bold girls stared intently at him. I also, on a whim, took an extra drink from the vending machine. This is for you. Harper froze for a few seconds, then frowned. No thanks, people around here will laugh at me. Exactly, Onyx. Yeah, it's just humiliating a Cameron. I heard Avery, the Chris's beauty queen, doesn't even impress Harper, let alone Logan, he's truly shameless. Harper frowned again, but his face remained handsome. River, behind me, couldn't take it anymore and gave a Skylar. William, if he's not drinking it, I will. Actually, I didn't react much. A refusal wasn't a big deal, and I couldn't force him to accept, could I? As I turned to hand the drink to River, Harper reached out his hand. Thanks, I'm a bit thirsty now. The previously chattering crowd in River quieted down, and my heart began to pound uncontrollably. Some feeling was quietly brewing. His wrist bone protruded, and when I accidentally touched it, it felt like cold jade. From then on, I often secretly went to Oliver to see him. Harper was always doing problems, his profile earnest and focused. He shone like the sun, and I played a role no different from a sunflower. When the sun was there, I would look up. But if I wasn't there, in my heart, I wouldn't see Mr. James anymore. People always change. Today I might like eating pork ribs, and tomorrow I might fall in love with spicy wings. My throat was tight. So it was. My thoughts and memories were perpetually intertwined. A trace of loneliness flashed across Harper's face, then disappeared. He was just a step away, and an overwhelming sense of pressure washed over me. Then you're truly fickle. So now you've fallen in love with those spicy wings. I instinctively took a step back, my heart aching faintly. Bringing it up again will only add to the trouble. Besides, you were the one who gave up on me first. Facing his aggressive tone, I calmed myself and sneered. Does Mr. James still think he's the innocent high school boy from back then? 6 years have passed, what makes him think I'd still be hung up on him? Logan. Harper suddenly clenched his fist, staring intently at me, as if he could no longer maintain his usual composure. I ignored him. It's fine, I'm leaving. For the next few days, Harper and I had a tacit understanding, pretending nothing had happened. That is, until I went to the company retreat to avoid a blind date. Oliver, is your boyfriend checking up on you? Blake sat down to my left, her voice laced with laughter. I instinctively squeezed my phone and rolled my eyes. If you're so bored, go farm a couple of acres. Does it matter who I text? Do I need to report to you? Ridiculous, as if he were really my boyfriend. Blake narrowed his eyes. He must have had a screw loose today, speaking in such a Knox. I always found him annoying and couldn't be bothered to respond. Oliver said they're just friends, someone really lacks discernment. Ari pursed his lips. Blake didn't pay attention and continued. I heard this Mr. James just returned from abroad. He's young and accomplished, from a prominent family. Some people shouldn't try to warm up to him when he's cold, dreaming of becoming a phoenix from a sparrow. What he said wasn't wrong, but I just didn't like hearing it. So what if Harper had good connections? Your grandaunt still didn't fancy him. What's wrong with sparrows? Some people are born sparrows, but sparrows also have the right to live, and they're not necessarily more lowly than phoenixes. Mr. James, Blake suddenly called out in a sweet, affected voice. I looked closely and saw it was indeed Harper. The great Ashley has arrived. Colleagues around me all stood up to flatter me, but my butt felt glued to the seat, not moving an inch. Harper sat opposite me, and I deliberately lowered my head, scrolling on my phone screen. Oliver, don't just focus on your phone. Often Riley. Ari's chopsticks suddenly reached over. Mr. James is allergic to this, he can't eat it. Harper's voice came from across the table. Colleagues exchanged glances, and messages in the office gossip chat popped up one after another. This Logan and our Ashley truly have an unusual relationship. Not only does Mr. James buy her flowers every day at the office, he even sends her breakfast from Mia, that place with the long queues. I'm so jealous. Spill the tea. How does the great Ashley know he's allergic to crabs? There must be something going on between them. Goodness, what's Mr. James doing with her? She's confirmed as his secret girlfriend. We'll have to be more polite to our future Mrs. Ashley from now on. Blake's face grew increasingly sullen on the side. She hesitated to speak, then finally chose to remain silent. Seeing Blake get shut down, I was unusually pleased and immediately turned my gaze provocatively towards Harper, who said I couldn't eat it. Harper remained silent, his attitude resolute. Ari, trembling, finally picked up the crab and put it in his own bowl. Someone cracked a joke, and the dining table became lively again. Since we're already here, we might as well get our money's worth. An X shouldn't affect eating. And even if it's dead, I still have a mouth, so it won't stop me from eating. I slightly raised my head, and suddenly a plate of baked cod appeared on the table. This I could eat. My eyes lit up, and I reached out my chopsticks, which happened to collide with Harper's. I didn't expect that not only are this person and I completely incompatible, but even our chopsticks clash. I snapped my chopsticks with a hint of anger. Silver immortal. Harper was indeed impolite, swiftly scraping off the tenderest part of the mandarin fish. Eat slowly, don't choke. Harper actually didn't much care for meat or fish. Back in high school, Chris's lunchbox was outsourced, and on Mondays, it was always fish and tofu. I'd take his portion ahead of time, and pick out all the fish. Going abroad is great, even your taste can change. As I was musing, Harper's bowl suddenly had several pieces of fish. Harper stared at me, his tone flat. Eat, put your phone down. Just like he used to guide me with my homework back then. I was momentarily stunned and subconsciously tossed my phone a little further away, regretting it immediately afterward. Now Harper was just my boss, not my boyfriend, so why was I listening to him like this? My colleagues, with a shared understanding, lowered their heads in silence. In my bowl were precisely the pieces of fish he had just given me. So I was a trash can, just for him to toss whatever he didn't like, right? I was almost laughing from anger. Harper was drunk. I didn't know if he was truly drunk or feigning it. It turned out that even after so many years, I was still as useless as before. Amelia, my wife, just called. She's going into labor. I'll invite you to the baby's arrival party later. Alex seemed to assume Harper and I were a done deal. He casually slipped me the car keys and hurried off in a taxi. Not far from me, Harper, dressed in an expensive tailored suit, twisted open a water bottle cap with one hand and tilted his head back. Under the light, his figure overlapped with the teenager he was years ago. Nothing seemed to have changed, yet everything had. Blake tried to help him up, but was mercilessly shaken off. Mr. James, why don't I take you home? We should be going the same way. The moment those hands reached for Harper, I couldn't stand it. Do you even know where he lives? And going the same way? Blake was dumbfounded. Harper looked as if he'd found a savior. His steps were unsteady, yet he walked steadily towards me, 1 step, 2 steps. I didn't help him, letting those dark eyes stare intently at me, full of too many emotions, the most obvious being a sense of grievance. I sighed and told Harper, get in the car. Before leaving, Ari sneakily slipped something into my pocket. I get it. Remember to share your thoughts on tonight tomorrow. She had a I know everything expression, and I couldn't be bothered to explain. After getting into the car, I habitually reached into my pocket for the keys, but pulled out a box of condoms instead. My whole body stiffened, my mind a blank. Damn it, does that girl have a death wish? Before I could hide it, Harper's warm body leaned towards me. Medium, strawberry-flavored ribbed, he murmured softly. I only wished there was a crack in the car floor to disappear into. It was just a bit small. Harper wasn't completely wasted yet. He lowered his eyelashes and a laugh bubbled up from his throat. Logan, are you trying to take advantage of me? His breath sprayed on my face. Passing car lights flickered across Harper's profile like reflections on water, creating dancing specks of light. The slightly drunken scent mixed with the car's leather smell wasn't pleasant. But at that moment, the cold aura emanating from Harper still made me lose myself for a moment. It pulled me back to my high school days, but after just 5 seconds, I snapped back to reality and furiously snatched the item back, stuffing it into my pocket. Don't flatter yourself, it's not for you. Who would I use it with then? Harper's expression instantly changed. He pressed one hand against the car window, his forehead gently furrowed. Or who have you used it with? I didn't waste any more words, too lazy to argue with a drunk. I fiercely pushed away his face. Anyway, not you. From the day you silently left without a word, we stopped being us. And the former peace was shattered. Harper, I'm an adult. Who I date and who I'm intimate with are my own business. You have no right to interfere. What's more, you're just my Ashley, not even a friend. That's all. I didn't dare look at him, staring at the dazzling lights ahead, my body shaking uncontrollably. I fought back tears, refusing to let a single one fall. It's strange. I'd held on to these words for so many years, and finally had the chance to throw it in his face. It should have felt incredibly satisfying. But at this moment, there was no satisfaction at all, not a single bit. But you used to like me so much. It was a very soft, quiet remark. In the rearview mirror, Harper's body was half slumped in the seat. Drunk, the corners of his eyes were incredibly red. He seemed both lost and wronged. Logan, I miss you so much. My heart seemed to fold in on itself, and I repeatedly told myself not to soften. That night, I helped Harper down in the elevator, then quickly fled the building. I was afraid that if I stayed for one more second, I would surrender completely. Love can make flowers bloom in a swamp, and it can also make snow and ice seal off thousands of miles in spring. I don't like you. Not now, not ever. If I had to respond to every liking, I'd just have more trouble. Liking someone, that's your business and has nothing to do with me. But that was my first time confessing to Harper. Used to being carefree, this was also the first time I felt an inferiority deep in my bones, desperately wishing I could also be a good student in the teacher's eyes. A pink envelope fell at his feet. Harper was so stingy he didn't even spare it a glance. Back then, I was so naive. Even though I was a bit sad, I pretended not to care and smiled. It's okay, I'll just try harder. You're right, liking someone is indeed my business, so you can't control it. I just like you. Now and even more so in the future. I left my declaration with full conviction. Harper seemed not to have expected me to say that, and he left with a dismissive, whatever you want. Ari beside me cheered loudly for me, but I felt an intense pang of bitterness. For several months, I went to great lengths to find out Harper's preferences. Whenever I had time, I'd go to Oliver, wake up early every day to buy him breakfast, and quietly follow behind him to walk him home. I did everything I could, but feelings were like the final, most challenging question on a math exam. Effort alone couldn't guarantee a perfect score. But even then, though I never gave up, even when faced with obstacles, I thought I could only silently admire Harper my entire life. Until that day, when things took a turn. One day after school, wearing my school uniform, I walked into the pouring rain to bring Harper an umbrella, only to happen upon him being slapped at the school gate. Kai stormed off after hitting him, then hurriedly got into a car and drove away, leaving Harper standing there. I quickly stood on tiptoes, opened the umbrella, and painstakingly held it over Harper, creating a small canopy for him. Water droplets dripped down his hair strands. His white school uniform was soaked halfway through by the rain, clinging to his back almost transparently, but from beginning to end, his back remained as straight as a pine tree. Seeing the umbrella, he lifted his wet eyelashes and indifferently turned towards me. Facing the street lamp, I then saw his highly swollen cheek, and a cut on his jawline that was bleeding with blood droplets, caused by a ring. After 2 seconds of silence, I cautiously asked, Harper, are you in a lot of pain? His eyelashes fluttered slightly. I was indignant again. Who was that woman? How dare she hit you like that? If only I had arrived earlier. I hadn't even hoped she would answer me anything. I never expected Harper to speak. She's my mom. This was the first time Harper had said anything other than a refusal. I was as happy as an idiot. I shoved the umbrella into his hand and ran straight into the pouring rain to buy medicine. That day, the unapproachable young man walked down the steps one by one and stood beside me. After I finished applying the medicine, We talked a lot on the school field. It was then I learned that Harper's mother had very high, almost strict, expectations of him. At that moment, Harper suddenly spoke. If I wasn't ranked first in our grade, would you still like me? Of course, I answered without hesitation. I don't like you because of your good grades. I'd like you if you were first, and I'd like you if you were last. It's not about what kind of person you are, it's because you're you. What about after liking someone? Harper suddenly blurted out. What then? I was instantly stumped, feeling a bit lost, and only later, blushing, did I whisper. I want to go to college with you, and be together every day. Your ranking this time is 953? Harper curved his lips, and a faint smile glittered unrealistically in the rain. My heart pounded like a drum, and I just stared blankly at him. The next second, Harper looked into my eyes and said, word by word, if you can improve your rank by 50 places this time, I'll be your boyfriend. It was another ordinary Saturday. How many times had I said it, practically worn out my tongue? Even if you're not home, the home needs to be aired out. The windows are shut so tight, and expired things in the fridge should be thrown out early. Do you want to save them for Chinese New Year? Have you been ordering takeout again lately? You've collected a ton of chopsticks, just eat. It's all just poor quality meat. My mother, David, yet when it came to getting things done, she was decisive. Watching my mother's hair gradually turn white, my eyes couldn't help but well up. It was just such an ordinary woman who raised me. When my father passed away, I was only 6 years old. A thumb-thick steel rebar fell from a tall building, piercing his hard hat. The next time I saw him was in the morgue at the hospital. My mother covered my eyes, crying heartbreakingly. The man who used to lift me high above his head would never come back. People in Amelia were futile and malicious, and rumors spread like wildfire. It seemed women were born to be blamed for misfortune. Some said my mother had a hard fate, that she had brought death to her own father as a child, and then to my father. My mother ignored all of this, but one day, a boy I was playing with hit my forehead with a rock. Even though he had stolen my toy, he still treated me like that, saying, "Who told me to play with such a good toy?" He also said, "Who told me I deserved to be bullied because I didn't have a father?" But that was the first time my mother had been so angry, until she ended up holding me and crying uncontrollably, his tears soaking my clothes. Later, she was always determined to find my father for me. But after seeing the man she was dating touch my leg, she immediately broke off all ties with him. What about my Nova? Your mom doesn't want you to achieve great things. She just wants you to grow up safe and sound. From then on, I cut my hair, packed my beautiful dresses away in a box, and hung out with a bunch of boys. In others' eyes, we were problem kids, uneducated delinquents. But only we knew how fragile we were, how afraid of getting hurt. Our tough exterior was actually soft through and through. It was also from then on that no one dared bully me, because I, Logan, was vindictive. Unable to argue with my mother, I still stepped into that sage. Her greatest wish in this life was simply for me to have a home. The kind of home I had always longed for. My blind date was tall, handsome, and carried himself with an indescribable familiarity, until he flashed a sunny smile. "William, you really don't recognize me? It's you, Finn." I reacted, my memory suddenly resurfacing. "It really is you. My little phoenix from back then," Finn said, scratching his head shyly. "William, that was years ago. Can you give me a break? You've changed so much." I couldn't help but pat his shoulder. It felt firm and solid. Muscles bulged beneath his suit. Who would have thought the indigo from back then would grow up like this? Though we were old classmates, it had been years since we last met, so a bit of awkwardness was inevitable. My face flushed, and I quickly pulled my hand back. Finn paused for a moment, then chuckled. "William, it's fine if you pat me. Back then, you loved to pat my head too. What could I do? You were taller than me in high school. But now you probably couldn't reach." Finn took my hand and placed it on top of his head. "As long as you want to touch, you always will." Our eyes met, and Finn's gaze was sparkling, holding an indescribable seriousness. I was a bit embarrassed, I said, and pulled my hand away stiffly. I never imagined we'd meet again under such circumstances. It was truly an unexpected turn of events. "Yeah," Finn said, seemingly unfazed. "I didn't know the girl my mom mentioned was you. When I saw your photo that day, we were quite surprised. We'd known each other for years and had a ton of common topics, so our conversation was very engaging. Seeing the little phoenix who used to trail behind me, now not only sunny and confident but also successful in his career, I was genuinely happy for this river. Finn was the most amazing student among all my river gang. Back then, he was with Harper at Oliver, and I happened to stumble upon some thugs from the neighboring Chris demanding money from him. Those guys, not content with just the money, even dumped everything from his backpack into the ditch. Finn, and Ethan, was powerless to fight back, pinned to the ground and sobbing. Although I was a delinquent myself, I never bullied. Being pushed around by the neighboring Chris, especially when they were bullying Harper's classmate, was too much. I was absolutely furious. I immediately shouted at Ari to beat them soundly. Finn had never seen such a scene. He was frozen with fear, just crying, tears smearing his entire face. I impatiently clicked my tongue. Phoenix, join us. From now on, I'll protect you. Hearing this, Finn cried even harder. As if remembering something, I dryly added, but there'll be some interest. You have to help me pursue Harper. After that, Finn became the go-between for Harper and me. Suddenly, dormant memories attacked me, and Finn, sitting opposite, pulled me out of my thoughts. Why so serious? Nothing. I casually chuckled, but felt a pang of sadness inside. Anything or anyone related to Harper always seemed to inadvertently tug at my heartstrings. After a moment of silence, Finn spoke. Do you know Harper's back in the country? The topic changed too quickly. I mumbled a vague response, silently adding in my mind that this guy not only came back, but also became my direct supervisor. Finn continued on his own. After how he treated you back then, you're not still thinking about him, are you? I neither confirmed nor denied it, my hand gripping the glass slightly tighter as that scene suddenly replayed in my mind. The winter Harper left was very cold. I waited for so long downstairs at his place, until I felt like a snowman. We had just agreed last week to attend college in the same city, but in an instant, he disappeared without a trace. All the messages I sent him, Taylor. I didn't believe what they said. Harper left, and I waited downstairs every day for him, fantasizing that the next second he would open the door and tap my head with a book, but it never happened. Later, someone sent a note saying they knew where Harper was. I went to the meeting, but what awaited me were thugs from the neighboring Chris. They stomped my face into the snow. It didn't hurt, it wasn't dirty. I just felt utterly exhausted. At that moment, I still held on to the fantasy, naively believing that once they'd vented their anger, they would really tell me where Harper was. In the end, Finn found me, crying as he told me Harper had gone abroad. The photos of my face being stomped in the snow went viral on the Chris forum, and the comments below were sharp and vicious. I read them one by one, a self-inflicted torture. Logan doesn't know her own place. She can't possibly think a top student like him would genuinely want to be with her. Talking about it, her boyfriend went missing. What a joke. What's even more ridiculous is her self-importance. It was just a game, so why is she playing out this dramatic, misplaced devotion? At this point, I became a complete laughingstock. I thought, liking someone is truly too exhausting. I never want to like Harper again. Finn drove me home. Before parting ways, we exchanged contact information. I don't want to be your river anymore. Logan looked up, his gaze deep. He suddenly stepped forward and embraced me. Give me a chance to be your boyfriend. I'm no longer the coward hiding in the background. I will protect you. Thinking back to how you protected me, how could I not see Finn's deep affection from the start? But my heart was truly in turmoil, and I couldn't give him any answer. I felt so heavy. After that blind date, Finn would occasionally contact my mother. She thought things were settled, always had a joyful look between her brows, and kept mentioning bringing Finn home for dinner, which left me feeling both amused and exasperated. Oliver, I just saw a super handsome guy whose legs were as long as my neck. Ari's eyes lit up and she was practically gushing, with hearts in her eyes. Even near closing time, a car was still parked downstairs at our office. Who do you think he's waiting for? I had noticed too. He was indeed super handsome, a different kind of handsome than our Mr. James. No, I still think Mr. James is a bit more handsome. The young women chattered, arguing over who was more handsome. I shrugged, unimpressed. Harper, after you've looked at him for a while, he's just... Okay. Your mom clearly hasn't seen much of the world. She should try more good things. As soon as I finished speaking, the young women fell silent. Ari tremblingly pointed her index finger behind me. Harper, holding a coffee cup, calmly took a sip. It seemed Assistant Logan was used to the finer things. Not really. I used to eat garbage too. He didn't have the awkwardness of being drunk. Naturally, I wasn't going to back down. This was the first time we'd spoken since that day, and he surely missed me. It still lingered in my mind. The atmosphere was inexplicably heavy. All right, it's quitting time. My ride's here. See you all tomorrow. Ari was the first to force a smile. grabbed her bag, and ran off. The crowd dispersed quickly, leaving only me and her. Just as I was about to leave, my wrist was suddenly seized. Harper looked down at me. "You've been hiding these past few days?" It wasn't a question, his tone was a statement. "I'm not that bored." I felt a little guilty. "You've lost a lot of weight these past 6 years. Harper continued, talking to himself. "Let's get a meal together, or if you're not going to refuse." Before he could finish, I finally pried his fingers open. My phone rang. Harper frowned and had no choice but to let go. Finn's voice came from the other end of the line. "Aunt Nova asked me to come pick you up for dinner at home." Dinner naturally didn't happen. Harper and Finn got into a fight. Or rather, Finn started it, and Harper naturally showed no mercy. Both ended up in the hospital, but luckily, they only had minor injuries. Looking at their bruised faces, I sighed. Can't you two stop being so childish? Finn obviously didn't think he was in the wrong. He deserved it for leaving without a word back then. What's the point of him getting involved with you again now? You've misunderstood. He's just my Ashley now. The more I tried to explain, the worse it seemed to get. And he was still pulling at you at the door. My business with him is none of an outsider's concern. Harper finally stood up. He cut in, the glaring bloodstain on his temple making me wince. Who told you I'm an outsider? Finn glanced at me. I'm Nova's boyfriend. Both our parents have already met, and Aunt Stephanie just called me over for dinner. You, on the other hand, are the complete outsider, aren't you? I instinctively started to retort, but ultimately held back and said nothing. The stark white light illuminated Harper's bloodless face. The hospital was eerily quiet, with only the footsteps of nurses coming and going. After a long while he said, "He's the spicy wings you mentioned." Harper's eyes lowered, appearing somewhat gloomy. He didn't look at me. I just stared blankly at the reflective floor tiles. His usually expensive, sharp suit was crumpled and stained with blood, utterly pathetic. I had never seen him look like this. In my memory he always seemed spirited and aloof. In that instant, my heart felt like it was being cut with a dull knife. The pain. Harper had long been seamlessly connected to my youth, becoming an inseparable part of it. Even after so many years, his name was still engraved on my heart. I tried to numb myself again and again, but each time I became even clearer. "Logan, I'm sorry," Harper murmured. "Can we really not go back?" I choked back a sob and tremblingly asked, "Why did you leave that year?" Harper was uncharacteristically silent. I laughed out loud, mocking my own overestimation of myself. I thought what they said was right. I wasn't good enough for Harper. In the face of a promising future, I should have been cast aside. Finn angrily grabbed Harper's collar. I shook my head, "Alex," then rushed out of the hospital. That night, I developed a high fever, and moments with Harper flashed before my eyes like a whirlwind of memories. I told myself I needed to let go. The world doesn't stop for anyone. A few days later, I was back on my feet again. The more others wanted to see Logan fail, the more determined I was to live a good life. Just 2 minutes before clocking in, Blake closed the elevator door ahead of me, a smug look on his face. "Sorry it's overweight. You'll have to wait for the next one." I clenched my fists, furious. "This way," Harper's voice came from above. Hearing the familiar sound, my body instinctively complied. But I quickly pinched myself, snapping back to reality. Next to us was the executive elevator. Normally, a junior employee like me wouldn't be allowed to use it. Before I could even shake my head, Harper pulled me straight inside. His forehead was wrapped in a bandage. He asked casually, "Aren't you most concerned about the perfect attendance award?" My urge to bolt out the door suddenly stopped. Harper was already my direct superior. No matter how much I tried to avoid him, I'd still run into him constantly. I might as well just get used to it. "Why didn't you text back?" Seeing my silence, Harper questioned me again. He fixed his piercing gaze on me, his eyes bloodshot. "You know how I've been these past few days. It's not that I didn't see your dozens of calls and 99 messages, but how I'm doing is none of your concern anymore." A lump formed in my throat. Before I could retort, the running elevator suddenly stopped. Then the lights flickered a few times before going out completely. It was pitch black. Just my luck. After quickly calling for help, the elevator repair team was working on the repair. All we could do was wait. Harper next to me seemed unable to hold on any longer. His breathing suddenly grew heavy, startling me. He tightly embraced me from behind. His grip was incredibly strong, as if he wanted to pull me into his very being. "What are you doing? You're not trying to take advantage of me, are you?" I tried to push him away, but my hand met with sweat. It was damp and alarmingly cold. My heart jolted. Harper looked completely off. Logan, Logan. He buried his head in my neck, calling my name as if clinging to me like a lifeline. It was only when Harper was back in the hospital that I learned he had severe mental health issues. Outside the hospital room. Harper didn't tell you, did he? Richard, Lucas was dressed like a formidable businesswoman. Her face bore a striking resemblance to Harper's. We're fraternal twins. I certainly didn't know Harper had a sister, but she's mentioned you to me. She sighed. Come on, she said. I'll take you to see someone. Looking at Christopher, whose mind seemed childlike, my memories began to overlap. I had seen her years ago. She was Harper's mother. Though she was no longer as noble and beautiful as she once was, the downturned eyes of Lucas and Harper still bore her likeness. A cartoon bear clapped its hands, and the woman mimicked it, babbling. Lucas slowly peeled an apple and began to recount. Though my brother and I were born together, we didn't grow up together. I stayed with my father. He was taken by my mother. In my mother's eyes, my brother was merely a tool for his ambition, a weapon to punish my father's infidelity, so she demanded perfection from him in every aspect, so her leverage wouldn't be diminished. She told my brother that only by being perfect would he be liked, and not be disliked. That's why the boy, drenched in rain, persistently asked me, if I'm not first, will you still like me? I bit my lower lip. An unspeakable pang of heartache churned within me. Back then, when my father discovered my mother had mental health issues and wanted to bring her back, she was unexpectedly agitated by the news and forced her abroad. At this point, Lucas looked up at me. My heart suddenly sank. The knot in my heart that had troubled me for years unraveled in an instant, and tears were already streaming down my face. So it was that Harper never gave up on me. I laughed and cried, looking like a complete fool. Suddenly remembering something, I didn't bother to wipe my tears. I asked almost frantically, what happened next? What happened to Harper? Lucas continued, later. We found him. He was confined for 3 months in a place with only water and food, no light and no sound. Lucas handed the apple to the woman, telling her to go play nearby. When Logan found him, he was calling your name. My tears instantly fell. He spent 5 years in treatment abroad before coming back for you. Logan, he was just afraid you wouldn't accept him like that, imperfect as he was. Finally, Lucas asked me, so are you still willing to accept him like this, and be my sister-in-law? Before leaving, she also gave me a key, returned to its rightful owner. Go see it. Everything there belongs to you. How could I not remember this place? This was the house Harper lived in during his school years. After he left, I often lingered downstairs. Opening the door, everything was just as it had been decorated. Because it was regularly cleaned, there wasn't a speck of dust. Time seemed to stand still. After all the twists and turns, I had returned to where I started. The desk was piled with stacks of study materials. If not for the pages yellowed with age, I would truly have thought I was back in the past. That boy would sit at the desk, laughing at my clumsiness, while patiently working out calculations again and again. Picking up a random one, it was a familiar notebook. Before, I often caught him secretly writing something in it. When I wanted to see, he'd Casey the notebook, putting it where I couldn't reach. Opening a page, in neat, strong handwriting, the black ink recorded and analyzed the fluctuations in my grades, while the red ink proposed methods to address my weak subjects. I didn't understand why I was crying, but tears gushed out uncontrollably, and stacks of photos and information about the city we wanted to visit, with marked travel routes. I took out Lucas's key, opened the cabinet, and found it filled with gifts. Birthday gifts from when I was 1 year old to my current 24. The missing 6 years were all there without exception, and each one was even accompanied by exquisite greeting cards. Logan would only buy me breakfast but never ate it himself. When I'm not here, you must eat well. You also need to get good treatment today. I hope to get back soon to see Logan. On the last card it was clearly written, Logan, I love you. I opened the gift. It was a sparkling diamond ring. I put on the ring and ran with all my might towards Harper. I wanted to tell him, I love you too. Why are you here? Harper, dressed in a hospital gown, turned around. His face was pale, his clear eyes still like those of the boy he once was. Though he feigned composure, his voice revealed his surprise. My eyes welled up. I stepped forward and hugged him tightly. I didn't like you because you were good at school. I liked you when you were first, and I'd like you if you were last. It's not what you are that I like, but simply that you are you. The heavy rain on the school field back then immediately poured down, and that's when you knew. Harper froze for a moment, then responded ecstatically. His voice choked, and warm liquid steadily fell onto my shoulder. Logan, thank you. Thank you for still liking me. You lied to me. He told me himself that he wasn't your boyfriend at all. Of course I lied to you too. Actually, I wasn't drunk that day. Everything I said was from the heart. Logan, I missed you. Me too. I lightly kissed his chin. You lied to me once, and I lied to you once. So it evens out. I showed him the ring on my hand, grinning widely. Harper, I love you. Harper's expression shifted slightly, and tears welled in his eyes, falling drop by drop. We shared a salty, wet kiss, a kiss that was years overdue. Oliver, go check the work chat. Blake is spreading rumors about you again. I clicked on the pinned group chat. 3 photos immediately appeared, showing Harper's car and me getting out of it. Knox. Look who I ran into at the restaurant. Shocking, someone who appears innocent on the surface, but is secretly a Robert. Before I could reply, Harper spoke first. This car is mine, and the amazing Logan is too. Let me clarify, we are not merely a superior-subordinate relationship, it's a complex boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. The group chat erupted again. The next morning, Blake voluntarily applied to resign. Years later, the love letter resurfaces. Do you know you were really putting on an act back then? With the ring on my hand, I unfolded the pink letter. Harper embraced me cocky. But you like me just like this. That was indeed flawless. Then he slowly began to read. Hello, classmate Harper from junior year, class 5. I'm Logan from junior year, class 19. I've noticed you for a long time. Do you remember when I bought you a drink? P.S. I don't mean for you to pay me back. I'm good at dyeing hair. If you want to change your hair color, you can come to me. I can cut hair too. I'm also good at fighting. If anyone bullies you, you must tell me immediately. I have many river. None of them are as capable as you. If you agree, they will also become your river in the future. It'll be super cool. Of course, I have many, many more good qualities that you'll need to discover over time. Anyway, will you please be my boyfriend? I really, really like you. Can I wait for you at the school gate every day? At that moment, the sun was just right, a gentle breeze. We burst into laughter. The future is long, so let me take the lead.